Good to see everybody. Let's do a couple little checks here. Things. Welcome, welcome. Good, Carlton. Good to see you. All right, looks good. Looks good. All right, I'm gonna practice a little bit. Good to see folks. You can say hi in the chat, and we'll get going here right at 6 o'clock. Hello, Jane. Hello, Annie. Good to see you. I don't know if I like this angle. I don't know. It could be vain sometimes. Let's see. There we go. Just checking some sound for us. More folks are joining us. Good to see you guys. We join together. Make sure you have, and I'll just keep reminding us, make sure you have the music for tonight. Again, that one of the hardest parts of our virtual life is making sure we have all the right pieces of music. And so, oh, hi, Misty. Make sure we have all the right pieces of music. And so links to everything you'll need tonight is in the description of this video. So again, if you click on the little thing that says sort of see more description, there'll be links to all those pieces you need. Need total praise, and you'll need 2 movements of the Faure, the Kyrie, and the Sanctus. You can pull up that whole PDF or just print out what you need, or hope maybe you have your score already, which is fantastic. I know, the postal service was wild. Mail is crazy during the holidays, was going nuts. So I know some people still have stuff in transit, but you'll be fine with that PDF tonight. We'll go, there's a couple discrepancies in it, but that's part of the fun of this piece. But so good to see everyone. I'm just going to keep toddling away. Or my hands up. My hands are very cold. And so, that will be my excuse for any missed notes this evening. But Happy New Year to everybody. I'm so pumped, so excited. to see people here. All right, fantastic. Thank you, Sharon, for getting our reminders in there. We're going to talk about that today. Good to see folks joining us. We'll get going here right at 6 o'clock. I love that Sharon's already going to giving us our announcements and everything. So organized. That helps me. I'll say them out loud and I'll scroll up to her stuff later. But good to see you guys. Misty, we're going to do it in Latin. Good old Latin. No fear for the Latin. It's a great language. It is sung like it looks like mostly, and so we'll go over that. It's a little smoother than the English translation that's in here. And we'll talk about that a little bit. A couple of the places in here. But yeah, we'll do it in Latin, good old Latin. Good to see everyone. Of course. I see your names, which makes me so happy. Join you. Anyone visiting, good to see you all too. I know we have a couple folks checking us out today. Jan, while we are virtual still, we'll probably have 1-ish hour rehearsals. So we're going to stick probably to sort of one, just because I think over one in front of a screen can be a lot. But I also think for these initial rehearsals, where we are going to be really learning notes, these ones that are going to be on YouTube Live altogether, they might go over an hour or so. But I'm always going to shoot for an hour to have really set goals for us to be together in that way. And so, Jan, thank you for that question. We're going to stick with sort of hour when we're virtual. And then hopefully that if that stays a pattern and we're able to get back to some outdoor stuff or some in-person stuff later this spring, we'll already sort of be in that pattern there. But we're going to have an hour to start here as we go through a section of this. Oh, it's great to see everyone joining now. That's so wonderful. We'll get going. It's a little bit after 6. If you can, feel free to say hi in the chat. If you can't, write on Facebook or, send us a carrier pigeon or something like that. Again, as a reminder for folks who sort of just joined us, you're going to need tonight Total Praise, which was a PDF that was emailed you to this week. If you didn't get that, it is in the description of this video. There's a link for you to print it out or look at their Total Praise. That is for our MLK concert. And then you'll also need your Faure Requiems, because we're going to get crack-a-lacking on Faure. I'm so excited for over my little break there, get to reacquaint myself with this piece I love so much. You all will, if you've never done it before, you will love it, even in this weird virtual land. And if you've done it before, you'll get to remember why you love it. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but it's just so great to be together again. I'm very bad at resting. I've gotten better at resting as I've gotten older. And so I get jittery. After sort of 4 days on the couch, I'm like ready to go do something. So I'm really pumped to be here with you all tonight. All right. Oh, Judith, I'm sorry you're having some tech problems. You always just try refreshing. Everyone, if you ever have a tech problem in these, refreshing is your friend. Refresh the link, X out, start over. That is the greatest in this age of tech, right? And all of us in our Zoom, and I'm sure all of us have had more engagement with technology than we've had in the ever in our lives. The number one thing I've learned is the greatest tech tip is to turn something off and then turn it on again. That is my great wisdom I impart to you all about technology. Turn it off and turn it back on again, or refresh the page. Like 9 times out of 10, I feel like that fixes any problem. Well, it's 6:01 and where people are joining us and we're just sort of climbing up usually a little bit after 6. It's just like real rehearsal, But anyway, let's start. It's so good to be with you all right now as we sort of get going here. It's 2021. Thank goodness. I'm sure 2021 will have its own challenges, but I will say on a symbolic level, I feel really happy leaving 2020 behind. And I am so excited to start this semester, especially because we started after having such a rousing success. And the reason I'm looking at my phone is I'm trying to see something. Give me 1 second. Give me a second. Let's see, because I want to brag on you. Our concert, all right? So our virtual concert, Bright Morning Stars, that you put on the first week of December, which was only a month ago, but feels like way longer ago, right? December was such a long month, has, as of today, 2.2 thousand views. 2.2 thousand views. That's really crazy. I've been doing stuff with my church and other organizations, school. I've not seen anything get that many eyeballs. And that's because you were helping spread it. But I know of so many people who shared it with others. I'm also sure like my mom watched it like 1,000 times. And so maybe that contributed to some of that as well. But that's just incredible. And so that just goes to show, like I said, I've said this a million times. I can't wait to the day where I walk into a rehearsal room and we're all together and I give a downbeat and we start singing. I can't wait for that day of normalcy. But in the meantime, how amazing is it that we were able to have so many people see your work and in such a fantastic way? And again, I've just gotten so many amazing compliments on your behalf. And people are so impressed with you. A lot of choirs didn't do it. And we'll sort of talk about that here in a second, sort of where we're at as our next performance is coming up in a few days. And so again, I'm really impressed by you. And so really, really excited for us to get back together again. And so with that, we begin this season. And again, we're going to start with working on an MLK piece. I'm going to talk about the ways you can contribute to that. We're sort of on a tight deadline for that. I'll talk about that in a second. And then of course, our spring concert in Paradisum, which features prominently the Faure Requiem, which we're going to start working on tonight. And then we will jump into, in a few weeks, the Olayelo Lake Isle, which is also part of this program. But we're going to have a music pickup for you that day as well. But with that being said, again, I just want to finish up sort of this greeting by saying I'm thrilled to be back doing this. And as sort of Sean saying here in the chat, it does still feel so weird. I mean, I'm here alone in the choir room at my church where I was doing work before this. And it's so strange to be together this way, but how magical that we can do this. And I'm so hopeful for this spring. I know there's still a lot of stress and anxiety and questions that we all have, but I really, really think that by the time we get to this concert that we end up putting on, whatever that looks like, combination of virtual, maybe some live stuff, some outdoor, whatever that looks like, I'm excited to see what that is. Because I really think that the world's going to get better. I really have tremendous hope. It doesn't mean there's not going to be bumps. But what we can do right now here in January and February is learn our music extremely well, so that no matter how we end up producing and doing this music come the sort of late spring, we'll be ready to do it. All right. So without further ado, it's 6:04. I think we should start warming up, shall we? If everyone sit up tall wherever you are, or stretch, or do whatever you need to just get your body awake. I know it's still, pitch black out at 6 o'clock. By the end of this semester, think about it. You'll come to rehearsal and it'll still be light out at this time. And so that's a little bit of hope to have. Stretch across like this. Fantastic. This way too. All right. So good. All right. Shrug your shoulders all the way up to your ears and just sort of scrunch up. And release that. Good. One more time. Tense your body up. Struck real close. Oh, and then let it go. Very nice. All right. Let's just start with some humming. Can we hum? Ready, go. Maybe chew around a little bit. Be good to your voice. You've had some time off. Going down. Very nice. That little veil. Good job. Veil. One more. Everyone give a good sigh. Woo! Good. Make sure you wake up that neighbor dog. One more time. Go, woo! Good for you. All right, let's have a real sort of nasally sound. Can we sing? Ming, 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 ming. Yeah. Ming, 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 ming. 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 One more. Ming, 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 ming. Everyone give a sigh. Woo! Very nice. All right, let's do one more, shall we? We do actually two more. Let's do hip, hip, ho, 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 ho. And hip, hip, ho, 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 ho. Hip, hip, ho, 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 ho. Hip, hip, ho, 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 ho. Hip, hip, ho, 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 ho. Hip, hip, ho. Hip, hip, ho. Hip, hip, ho. Hip, hip, ho. Hip, ho. Hip, hip, ho. One more. Hip, hip, ho. Very nice. All right, here we go. And one, just because, it's my favorite warm-up, because I mean it. I love to sing. Ready, go. I love to sing. 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 One more. I love to sing. Oh, one more. I love to sing. Very good, everybody. All right, take out Total Praise. Total Praise, our MLK piece. And while you're sort of gathering that, and again, as a reminder, if you did not have a chance to print that out, or you are very confused, you're like, what is Total Praise? That's totally okay. If you look in the description of this video, and it's also on Facebook, and it was an email to you, you'll see a PDF of Total Praise. Now, obviously, when January starts, when we all get together every year, we are already thinking about our MLK festival. And as we know, this year, that's just not a possibility, the in-person event, right? And part of the magic, as we all know, of the MLK festival is everyone being together physically, right? And so we will never be able to recreate that. But what we want to do, just sort of like what we've done throughout this semester, is we really, really want to memorialize, and we really want to remember and have a sort of a virtual placeholder for that, so we don't forget about that event. So when next year we come back around and we're in full force, hopefully, or in some version of more in-person full force, that we can sort of really do MLK Festival right. So we're going to be turning out a virtual MLK Festival. We have reached out to a lot of choirs to ask them to send us anything virtual they may have created this fall or winter, or past performances. A lot of choirs are really overwhelmed, right? And so there's going to be a lot of archival footage of the chorale, some recordings. Actually, some of you may may never have heard before, but I have sort of in my files that we're going to let out for that. Things we've done at MLK concerts past together. And then, of course, what we're going to start working on right now, Total Praise, one of the most sort of famous gospel charts of all time. We've also sort of invited other choirs to submit videos and recordings for Total Praise. Information about that was sent out in sort of your weekly email to you all the past couple weeks, if you want to go back and check that. But again, for Total Praise, we're doing things basically the same way. You can contribute in a lot of different ways to this. If all you have time for this week, and again, we really would love your recordings, sort of, I hope by next Sunday would be great to have them from the chorale. If you could all have them the next week, so maybe one more rehearsal, and then you can do it that evening, or if you have time this week. Those tracks are linked in the description of this video as well. Now, if you just want to submit audio only, which basically what mostly we did for our winter concert. If you just want to do that, that is totally okay, where you email it to me. But if you look at those instructions that your section leader sent out to you for the week, there's also an option for you to sort of give some video, your cell phone camera looking at you and you singing, which is sort of an added part of this as well. So again, go back and read those instructions. We'll send out an earlier weekly email this week so that you can see those instructions again refreshed in your brain. But tonight's just about learning this piece. And so let's just get right to the music. It's enough talking. So Total Praise. This is, like I said, it's one of the most famous gospel charts of all time. And sort of why it's so famous is it is this slow build to one of the most amazing amens of all time. It's also got some fantastic harmonies in it. So let's just give it a sight read, and then we're going to go back and go part by part and really learn it section by section. And then I'll send you off, and you have those recording tracks that you can then work on this week, tonight. By next week, get those to me so that we can compile something really amazing to have as sort of the kickoff or the start of our virtual MOK festival. So here we go. Total praise. It's slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. And Lord, I will lift my eyes to thy hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Lord, peace you give me in time of the storm. Ready and one. You are the source of my strength. Ready and one. You are the strength of my life. 2, 3, and 1. I lift my hands in total praise. Now you go back to the second page so that you are the source. And 1. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise. Here's the amen. There you go. So again, really straightforward. I think we should be able to learn this right now. But let's go back to the beginning and start over from the top, shall we? All right, so, and again, a dark, powerful sound right from the top. Lord, I will lift mine eyes. Very majestic and powerful. All right, let's start with alto and soprano at measure 3. Alto and soprano at measure 3. Alto star here in chest voice, Lord. Good alto part. And soprano's right here on Lord. Here we go. Alto and soprano. 3 and 4. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to thy hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Good, let's stop there. Back to measure 3. Let's hear tenors and basses. Tenors and basses. Tenor here on Lord. Basses on Lord right here. Here we go. Ready and Lord, I will lift mine eyes to thy hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Good, let's stop right there. Can we do everybody now at measure 3 from the top? Lord, I will lift. Lord, Lord, Lord. And let's have a little bit of, no pun intended, a little bit of a lift after Lord. Lord, I will lift. That's the only pun tonight, people. All right, here we go. Take a little lift after Lord. Here we go. Lord, 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 Lord. 3 and 4. Lord, I will and let's do it again. And when you get to hills, can your shoulders eke up? Hills. I know you're by yourself and you don't get to hear. Thanks, Sean. And you don't get to hear the other parts around you, right? But can you just feel that harmony? If we were together, we would love singing that dissonance there. So even when you do your recording, you really want to put that in there. All right, back to measure 3. I won't stop anymore. That's a lie. Here we go. Lord, ready and go. Lord, I will lift off my eyes to the hills and off is coming from you. Stop. Good. Now let's start at this part. Your peace you give me. Now this is a section where you really got to sort of sing your pitch right dead center. So no, nothing wobbly. In order for all those sort of notes to line up. Again, it's a true gospel song here. All right, let's start at Your Peace You Give Me, alto and soprano. 3 and 4. And again, hold that for a full 4 beats. It's going to feel really long. Can you hear alto alone at Your Peace You Give Me? Alto, you got all of these glorious little half steps. Can you really make those the skinny half steps? Ready, altos, and Your peace you give me in time of the storm. Good, now tenors and basses. Your tenors and tenors. Really throughout this whole song, tenors, you can let it loose. Here we go. Ready and go. Your peace you give me in time of the storm. Boom. And then there's that big moment. All right. Can we sing everything from measure 3 through there? And then we'll do the big breakdown. All right, here we go. Lord, I will lift. Measure 3. Here we go, folks. 3 and 4. I will. 2, 3. And. 2, 3. Is coming from you. Here we go. Your peace you give me. And 2, 3, 4. Sing on. 1. Good, let's stop right there. All right, so that's why you got to hold storm for a full 4 beats. So it's storm, boom, and then we have the sort of the explosion in the piano, and then you all come in big on You Are the Source of My Strength. All right, let's take this apart. So can we actually hear bass, bass and second soprano or first alto, depending whatever you sing. If you're a soprano or alto that usually sings somewhere in the middle, you can sing that middle note there. Again, I don't really care in this environment. Whatever you want to sing is fine by me. So that's whoever's singing that C. You are the source of my strength with basses. There's a lot of unison there. Here we go. Measure 15. Ready, bass, and second soprano, first alto. Ready, and 1. You are the source of my strength. 3, 4. 1. You are the strength of my life. And 1. And then when you get to sort of measure 20 there, my second sopranos or first altos, you can go back to sing whatever part you want, whatever makes most sense to your ear. All right, can we now hear tenor and soprano? Tenor and soprano at measure 15. You are the source of my strength. Here we go. Tenor and soprano. And 1. You are the source of my strength. And 1. You are the strength of my life. And 1. I lift my hands in Very good. Now can we hear altos alone? Altos alone. Altos get their own moment here. You are the source of my strength. Here we go. Altos, measure 15. Ready? And 1. You are the source of my strength. 3, 4, and 1. You are the strength of my life. 3, 4, 1. I lift my hands to you. Really good chest voice there, altos. And this goes for everyone. Look at measure 15 now. Everybody look at it. All of these eighth note cutoffs, for example, and look at my strength. So we sing 1. You are the source of my strength. Don't hold over. Don't sing strength. It's real short. Almost think of it like a staccato. Of my strength. And 1. You are the strength of my life. And just back off it right away. All right. Let's now take this apart one more way, and then we'll put it together, and then we'll do the amen. All right. And then we will have sort of gone through the whole thing. You have tracks to go listen and learn and record and do all that with later. But let's start with sopranos and altos at measure 15. You are the source. Ready? And 1. The source of my strength. 4, 1. You are the strength of my life. 3, 4, and 1. Very nice. Tenors and basses, same thing. You are, and 1. You are the source of my strength. Fast cutoffs. 1. You are the strength of my life. 3, 4, 1. I lift my hands in praise. Can I hear tenors alone at 19 real quick? Tenors, it's a tricky little lick there. I lift my tenors at 19. And 1. I lift my hands in total praise to you. Sean, great question. In between the two repeats, actually, no. We want both of them to be really huge. It's really forte each time. Because actually, what's sort of brilliant, yes, Julia, observe any rest you see in 15 and 17. Really, really sort of cut off there. You are the strength of my life. Yes, just a little bit of a pause anytime you see those eighth rests there is too. But back to Sean's question, really, when you come in at measure 15, it should always be forte. It sets you up for it, right? 1. You are the source. And we sort of sing this big, gospel-y, powerful moment. Then look at 19. This is why Richard Smallwood's a genius of composing gospel music. Because look at this. Look how amazing this is. I lift my hands. What naturally happens? It naturally decrescendos because he's brought in everyone from the tops of their range to just really singing, and he naturally brings you down in this amazing harmonic scale down to lowness. So that when we then go to do the repeat, the piano goes, we come back. And again, I think, it's funny. Dynamics are a funny thing. I think for some composers, they're a crutch. Dun, dun. I know it's like dramatic. I think some composers use dynamic as a crutch. The great composers, the great songwriters, right? And actually, we're going to see this in Faure as well. It's sort of an amazing connection. We're going to talk about this. But the great composers, the music leads you to the dynamic. And I think that's what's really incredible here. Anyway, let's now do all at 15. Let's make this the second time through. So I want you all to go to the amens again here. I want you to go to the amens after we go through this. So measure 15 and take the second ending, and then we'll sing through the amens, and then we'll learn the amens. All right, here we go. You are. Ready? And a one. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands. Here we go. Here's the amens. Back to sort of the thing we were just talking about. The crescendo is natural, right? Because look how it starts. It starts with everyone low in the range, and then they slowly build up to this big final part. So let's take it apart. Let's start with tenors and basses, actually. Tenors and basses, starting right at measure 23, beat 2, right on amen. Here we go. So bass, tenor, bass, tenor, and 1. Amen. What? So everyone, one quick note, especially tenors and basses. You see how you have these big, long, held out C's? You should challenge yourself, and again, pace yourself. So you might want to start them a little softer, so you don't give it all away. But if you could try to make those in one breath, the effect, even in a little audio recording like we're going to make, is going to be amazing, right? If you have to take a big breath in the middle, it sort of ruins it. And when you're live with everyone doing this, and I someday we'll be together again and we'll sing this piece live, and it will really all make sense in a deeper way. But everyone start egging each other on. So again, try to make it through those long C's, and that goes for sopranos and altos as well. So let's do measure 23, sopranos and altos. Here we go. We start real low. Pace yourself on this low C, altos and sopranos. Here's 23, alto, soprano, 1. And again, this is a gospel song, so altos, if you have sort of a belty-ish place in your voice that you can sing it, or even sopranos, a mixy place, as you've done music theater, amen, that kind of we really want to rattle the walls even in your audio recording. All right, let's try slowly putting that together. I'm going to take that a bit under tempo. 23, everybody, okay? Tenor, bass, tenor, alto, and soprano. This slow. 3 and 4 and 1. Next one. right, big amen. It's pretty amazing. This is a great piece. And actually, if you guys want to go after this, not during rehearsal, I mean, you could do whatever you want. You're at home. You could lie to me. But if you want to go down a great YouTube rabbit hole, if you want to go and really look down, there are a million amazing performances of this online. And so I encourage you all to go watch a live performance, especially of a great gospel choir. There's actually several performances of Richard Smallwood himself leading the group. It's a beautiful gospel piece. I did it once when I was in high school, and then I completely forgot about it. And then about 2 years ago, I sang it at a summer festival, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot this exists. Sean, good point. So on the Faure Fermata, it's just going to be a straight 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. And again, when we're live, I promise, when we do a summer sing or something like that, at some point when we're live together again, we will sing this together so that we can hold that fermata for 400 years, which is what we'll do. But we'll just do a nice clean 4 and off. All right, from the beginning one time, and then we'll go to some Faure for our last sort of 25 minutes or so. Total praise. It just felt, I was trying to think of a piece for us to do, and I knew we weren't going to have much time, and we didn't know how many people were going to submit. And just like everything these days, it's full of chaos and a million decisions, right? And then this piece spoke to me because a friend did this at their winter concert. It was on their concert. I was watching their virtual concert. And it hit me. I remembered that I did it a couple summers ago, and I just love this text. Anything that's about coming through a storm, right? I think we all can really relate to right now. And the hope of peace, again, regardless of what your religion is, this hope that we can have some peace, that we can find strength in each other, strength in music, strength in this world. I think singing about stuff like this really helps us. So total praise from the beginning. 3. Here we go, nice and soft. Here's the repeat. Here's the amen. 1. A little more. Bravo. So again, really straightforward. I knew we could pick it up pretty quickly. Again, in the description of this video is a playlist that has all of the tracks for this for you to record to sing to practice to if you want your part individually. And so there you go. So again, anyway, happy times with this. Total praise. Love it. All right. So now take out the Faure Requiem. And again, this is I don't want to hold up my score because I know some of you have blue ones, some of you have orange ones, some of you have printed it off the PDF. And that's sort of where I want to begin with this piece. So In Paradisum will be the name of our spring concert. Now, there's a lot of questions about what our spring concert will look and be. What I do know is we're going to do this work. We're going to do the Faure Requiem. We're going to do the Ole Gelo Lake Isle. The format of the piece, how we end up recording it, whether we're able to get some live stuff in, whether some movements will be all virtual and some movements will be live, or whether some will be hybrid. Again, it's one of those things where I think we're just going to learn the piece. And as we get a clearer picture of, say, what April and May look like in our area, I know there will still be some folks who are not going to come to a live event. And that's totally okay. So there will always be a way for you to contribute virtually and have a virtual presence in this concert. I've already thought through that. And it will be an all online concert again. But again, as always, we're just going to keep experimenting. And what's interesting about that is, in a kind of an amazing way, the Faure Requiem is a piece that, even when it was composed, went through tons and tons of changes. So many of you are working out of a score, the one that you ordered, which was edited by John Rutter, probably now 30 years ago, which was meant to bring the piece back to its original format, or its premiere format, which was for smaller forces, slightly different orchestration. But the thing is, this piece was used by Faure in many different venues in many different ways. He was a church musician. Faure, throughout his whole career, was not really the most super famous composer. He was a working teacher and church musician. So he used this piece, much like we're using this piece, right? Beautiful music that can work in a lot of different venues in a lot of different ways. So in a sense, we are keeping up with the tradition of Faure's Requiem, in that we are molding it and using these amazing pieces, this amazing music, to how we need to make music in this time. And so it's a happy circumstance that I chose this last spring, not just because it's beautiful, but it speaks to our time. And not to mention that I think that it goes without saying that, we in this world, in this country, are surrounded by a lot of loss of life, but also loss of many other things, right? And feelings that I think need to be memorialized in music. And what's amazing about the Faure Requiem is Faure's whole intent, and he wrote about this later in his life in composing this, was not to write a dramatic, angry, in-your-face requiem that was sort of hellfire and brimstone. Faure wanted to write Faure's perception of the afterlife, Faure's perception of a mass for someone who has departed. Faure's idea of it was that it was this peaceful moment. So even at the beginning of the piece, which is where we're going to start here in a second, he gives you these big empty Ds at forte. And then we get these chords. And it is ominous, right? And so you think, oh, it's just going to be an ominous piece. But then he gives you this kind of major chord out of nowhere. Oh, but then we're back to sad. Oh, it's expansive, it's not sad. It's confused. Right? All of this sort of harmony that is magical, that's mystical, that's full of wonder. And as we'll get through the piece, we won't get to this movement tonight, but at the end, he ends with In Paradisum. He ends with the most beautiful soaring music of all time. And so this is a piece I'm really looking forward to unpacking with you, because I've done it several times. I could talk about it all day, but it's really meant to be sung and played through. So I think we should do that. So let's start right at the beginning, Introit and Kyrie, the very first movement. Now, for those of you working off of the PDF score, the one that you print out, I'm working off my score. There are a couple things that are different in it. It can be a little clumsy to work through this piece together. This is our first night on it, so take a breath. There are some text differences that you're going to notice in your score that are different in mine. I will note those when we go back after our first reading. I'll note those as we go through so that you can make that note and make those alterations yourself, okay? The other thing I want to point out about this piece before we sort of start digging in here in a second is I want everyone to sing everything. And here's what I mean by that. So at the beginning, it's in soprano, alto, tenor, bass, 4-part land. But if you sort of go to where the tenor melody starts after that opening, where it just says tenors, I want everyone to sing this line, not just the tenors. And by everyone, I mean not just basses. I mean altos and sopranos, obviously down the octave, but it's not that low. Requiem And I would do this if we were live too, because it creates this mystical sort of seamless texture. And I'm going to make a lot of these points throughout the piece where I want voice parts who aren't noted. It might say sopranos, but I'll want altos and sopranos. It might say tenors, but I'll want tenors, sopranos, and basses to sing, right? So I'm going to note that a lot. This piece works better if we all sort of sing everything. And so I'll point those moments out as we go. But let's just start. That's enough talking. Here we go. Beginning. We are going to do it in Latin. So if the Latin is too much for you right now, just sing on dee-dee-dee or do-do-do. The other thing about Latin is sing how you think it goes. We'll go back and do diction later. All right, here we go. Starts with a big hammer. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Big cutoff, big silence. And then we're at a new tempo. Here we go. 1. Everyone's a tenor. Everyone's singing this together in that octave. And Requiem donae storine et lux perpetua Here we go. One. Now here comes one of the best moments in music. Here we go. And we're all singing Kyrie now. Kyrie, Kyrie, and a 1. Here go basses. One. Very magical chords here. What a journey. That movement just I feel like I just get wrapped in velvet, right? It also just feels like France to me, right? I just feel like there's smoke. It feels like smoke and smells and bells and all that sort of amazingness. All right, back to the beginning. Let's work on a few things in it. We're obviously not going to get through every single note on this movement tonight. Tonight's just an introduction, but I do want to point out a few things. So everyone, back to that first page. Now, this page is so important. This comes back later. Can everyone, I just want you at home, I'm going to say it. Can you say Requiem? And if you can't roll your R, that's fine. You can say Requiem aeternam. So Requiem aeternam. That's the word. And that means rest eternal grant them. This text, this Requiem text that we're about to sing, you know, it's one of the oldest texts in all of religious land. It's actually a Hebrew text. Originally, the Requiem text is originally a Hebrew text from the Hebrew burial service that very early in the sort of Catholic church's founding, they took for the burial mass for the dead. And so it's one of the oldest texts we get to sing. So say Requiem aeternam. Good. And the next word is dona eis. Dona eis. Domine. You see my A vowels are really close. Domine. It's a sound we're not really good at because we tend to go A in America. Domine. A, like Canadian. We'll do that in a warm-up next time. Then look at the next part. Et lux. Lux. Perpetua. And light perpetual. Et lux perpetua. Luceat. Luceat. Luceat eis. Luceat eis. What an amazing sentiment. Rest eternal and let perpetual light shine upon you. Right? And so, you know, it's the beginning is this resting chord, right? Very static, not moving. And then when he gets to et lux, the light, right? It feels like perpetual light. All right, let's sing this now. And again, if you're not ready for the text, you can sing on D, D, D. But let's just sing the chords. Now, here they are. So this is the bass note, bass 2 or baritone, tenor 2, tenor 1, alto, soprano. Here we go. Requiem. Here we go. Oh my gosh, my bad. Let's start right there. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Amazing. All right, let's take that apart one more step. Can I hear alto and soprano alone? Alto and soprano alone at the beginning. Ready? And. And 1. Two, three. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Fantastic. Let's hear tenor and bass at the beginning, and then we'll put that together. We'll do one more section in this movement tonight. Here we go. Tenor. Sorry, bass. Bass, baritone, tenor 2, tenor 1. Pick a note in that D minor chord. Here we go. Here we go. Two, three. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Bravo. Everybody now at the beginning, a little faster. Here we go. 1, big chord, soft. Here we go. Shocking. Still soft. Crescendo. Softer. Soft and then turn the page or go to the next section. Everyone's a tenor. Good. And then Faure writes his own chant. Couple quick notes about this. So everyone, if you're in the PDF score, make sure you have a pencil and mark these things, okay? So here are the few changes in this tenor line. This is probably the biggest set of changes. And they're sort of misprints in your score that Rudder went back and fixed. But if you follow along, the easiest way is if you follow along in the line with me. So the tenors go, Requiem aeternam dona eis. That's the first one. In your PDF score, it says dona eis. It writes them as quarter notes, and it's a dotted quarter eighth. Dona eis domine. Then, this is the next big one. You should have a rest on the downbeat where you have a letter C. If you're in the score I'm in, don't listen to this. Where you have a letter C, you have a rest. So it has et there on the downbeat. Cross that out. And then you're going to want to write et lux per. And then everything else is right. Et lux perpetua. Right? So rest on the downbeat, rest. Et lux perpetua luce. All right. Let's go back to the beginning now. Not the very beginning, when the tenors come in on Requiem. Okay, everybody, here we go. Everyone's a tenor. And I mean everyone's a tenor. Sopranos, I want you singing down there. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready. Requiem aeternam dona eis domine. 1. Et lux perpetua luceat. Tenor. Requiem aeternam dona eis. Requiem. Pause. If you're in the PDF score, That is requiem, right? Requiem. You have something else there? Is requiem. Make sure you make that change. And then we go on. So again, if you're still singing DDD, that's okay. You'll pick up the Latin. All right, back to this section where the tenors start. One more time, and then we're going to go on to the amazing soprano moment. Here we go. One. Here we go. It's a chant. Sing it like a chant. You're lost. You're just walking along with this marching bass. Drama. Something's over that hill. It's the angels. Here we go, angels. Isn't that an amazing moment? We go from being in D minor, and then we go to B flat major. Can we look where the sopranos come in? And again, altos, I would love if you could sing this with sopranos. If it gets too high, I understand. I guess tenors and bass, if you want to sing falsetto there, you can as well, as long as it's beautiful. But anyway, let's start it. Te decet hymnus Deus in Zion. It's when the sopranos come in. So this, again, if you are still rusty on the Latin, that's okay, you'll get there. But I'll pronounce it for you once. Te decet hymnus. So we don't pronounce the H. Te decet hymnus Deus in Zion. So that's a Z sound on what looks like Sion. Zion. And then et tibi redeetur votum in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem. And again, we have so many months to make this good. Do not stress on yourself right now if your Latin is not perfect or if it's stressing you out. Sing on DDDs to get those pitches in you, right? Take that time. You will get it. You know I believe in you, and you should believe in yourself. Here we go. Te decet, and then we're going to do one more movement here. I know it's 7, but like I said earlier, these first couple rehearsals, as we're trying to get through the piece, we might go over a few. Pour yourself another glass of wine if you want. All right, here we go. Te decet. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll celebrate next time. All right, one more movement I want to do tonight. I just want us to preview it. Is the Sanctus. Can everyone go to find the Sanctus? Sanctus, Sanctus. In my score, it's page 21, but it's movement 3, the Sanctus. And this is a song of praise. This is holy, 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 right? This is this amazing song of praise. Heaven and earth are full of your glory. What I think is amazing about Faure in this piece is I think he is writing so cinematically. Yeah, Tony, page 24 in the PDF. Thank you, Tony. He is writing so cinematically in this piece. And I think that the Sanctus, he's writing the waves of the ocean. It just reminds me of waves because this is what it sounds like. This is what the intro sounds like. Then you're the dolphins. You hear that? So you guys, now this is probably one of the trickier parts of this movement. And again, you might struggle a bit on the first sight read because it is a little tricky at first because It's in 3/4. So if you just keep counting in 3/4, so look at the soprano entrance. And again, altos, feel free to sing with sopranos, but altos, you can also sing with the tenors and basses. If you want to, it's not that low altos if you want to sing tenors and basses there. I want you singing something. Because altos, this movement, if you just go off what's read, you're not going to come in until the last page. I want you all, our altos are too good in the loud and chorale for you to not sing with us throughout this. So find a part that fits your voice, experiment a little bit here. But if you look at the soprano entrance, and then the tenors and basses come in a bit of an echo. You guys have this 1, 3, dum, bum. This very straight rhythm, but the accompaniment is doing this. So it's a bit of what we in music call 2 against 3. All right, so it's a little tricky. Let's just give it a sight read, okay? Do your best. Oh, Misty's going back to her soprano roots. Yay! This is always a good moment. Or some altos are going to their tenor roots, I guess. It depends on what you're doing. But this is too good of a movement to wait and not to sing. So here we go, everybody. Let's just give it a good old college try, a little introduction, and then we'll be done for the night. But this is such a great movement to end on. All right, here we go. Here we go, sopranos, and song, two, song, song, two, song, song, two, song, song, two, Here we go, sopranos. Violent soul. What a wild ride. What a wild ride, right? It's just so incredible. Can we go? I want to go to one more. I want to go to one place before we leave tonight. And I want to end on this moment because we'll worry about the beginning of this movie next week. So for next week's rehearsal, everybody, we'll do one quick over I know everyone's like, yes, it's just the best. And I encourage you, if you've not listened to a recording of this, go listen to a recording afterwards because and there's a million of them. This is one of the most triumphant moments of all time. But so next week we will two things actually before we'll end with music tonight. Three quick announcements. Again, Total Praise recordings by next week would be great. We'll do a once over of it next Sunday. But if you can get those to me so I can start compiling that so we can create a really nice product for our virtual MLK festival this year. So please get those to me. And one thing I just want to know, Beverly is great. She is kicking. She's doing great. She'll be with us later on in the season. I'm just going to start us off here. When we get to the hard movements of the Faure, I'll do a rehearsal with Beverly so she can play the really hard ones. But so Beverly will be back with us. Never fear. I just wanted to make that known. And in next week's rehearsal, we will start with these two movements of the Faure. I know we did a very quick intro tonight, and that's on purpose. We just wanted to get a taste of everything, and then we dig in next week. Again, we'll go part by part. We'll really work that out. So again, never fear. I know that sometimes people get really intimidated by a foreign language or by a big classical work. And especially in this environment, this virtual environment we're in, it can be even more intimidating. I just encourage you to stick with it. I'm gonna have rehearsal and recording tracks ready for you earlier than I did in the fall. I've learned my lesson that way. So you can actually start practicing at home even earlier than before. So again, we are we're so happy you're with us, and I just want to end tonight with the end of this movement. So can we start? For those of you with the PDF, you have a letter D and you have a letter D, and it's this. For those of us in the rudder score, it's measure 35 on page 25. It's when the sopranos come in on. Right before the big Hosanna. All right, I'll give everyone a second to get there. Measure 35, page 25. If you're in the rudder edition, the one I'm playing off of. If you're in the PDF, it should be a letter D in your score, a little bit before the end, right before the big Hosanna. All right, here we go. Let's end with some big triumphant music. It's just my favorite thing. And I do intend, again, whether this ends up being mostly virtual or not, we are going to hire, thanks, page 31 for those of you, thank you, Tony. For those of you in the PDF, it's page 31. I do intend on hiring a small little ensemble of musicians to record or be with us or in some way. And so we will have a French horn because this is such a good French horn moment here. All right, here we go. Sopranos or altos, whoever's singing that, and tenors with falsetto. I don't know. Here we go. 1, 2, and. Hosanna in excelsis, Hosanna in excelsis, Music will get us through this, people. This piece will. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. What a great turnout. And again, I'm just pumped for next week already. I don't know about you. I'm amazed. I know I shouldn't be amazed, but every time I sit here with you all and we get to work on some of the best music there is in the world and get to be together like this, whew, I always leave feeling like $1,000,000. So thank you all for giving me this. All right. Have a wonderful night. And email me if you have any questions. Email your section leaders. And have a wonderful week. And I will see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.